everybody, I'm Haley.
And I'm Kaylee.
And today we're reviewing Candyman, directed by Nia DaCosta.
Yeah. But before we get into that, I wanted to share a few stories that happened this week. So one's really nasty.
Ooh, new vocab.
I'm tired.
I am used to that. Ooh.
I added extra syllables in there for absolutely
It
no
wasn't
reason.
just nasty. It was nasty.
Nasty. But okay, I am tired because I actually have been decaffeinating. No, I've been detoxing from coffee. That's why.
Decaffeinating. Do you
Decaf.
have headaches?
I do. Actually.
Oh my god. Oh, so you were addicted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because like I've realized I'm not really enjoying the taste of coffee anymore. Like it's kind of sad. And I went to Starbucks and I got this caramel apple some bullshit that didn't even sound good, but literally everyone on the internet was like, "Oh, this is so good. This drink from Starbucks is so delicious." I waited in line for 30 fucking minutes for it to taste like ass cheeks. I was so...
Did they just make it wrong, or you think the drink itself just... Because, you know, sometimes they burn the coffee.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, okay.
But
I
put it on my Instagram story and several people were like, "Oh yeah, me too." They're like, "It's gross. It's
so
nasty."
It wasn't just the barista at that location.
So it was...
You drank it for the taste? Most people just drink it for the energy.
Well, I wanted to taste it because it was a new flavor.
But I mean, you're saying in general, you don't really like the way that coffee tastes?
Yeah, well, like lately it just hasn't been like tasting great, and it doesn't wake me up anymore because I have a high tolerance for caffeine. So it's just not worth it in either way. So that's why I'm tired, and I'll probably flub up a few lines with the nasty or whatever I said earlier.
Nasty.
Could
be a good name.
A nasty story that I have.
Could be a good name. Anacity?
Anacity?
Yeah.
For what?
A child.
A child.
Just kidding. Continue. She has a nasty story.
It's about my cat Remy, and basically this has happened only once before, and my dad and I were witness to it, and it was awful, and I was hoping it would never happen again, but this weekend it did. So Tristan and I were on the couch just chilling, and Tristan was about to get up, and he's like, "Hey, watch my pizza," because I didn't want Remy to get it. I was like, "Word, I got you." As soon as he said that, Remy had ran into the living room, and I was like, "Oh no, he had a turd hanging off of his ass."
Oh no, like a bigger than a
like at least this big of a turd hanging out of his butt. And I was like, "Oh, Tristan, he's got poop on his butt." So we were like tracking him down, trying to hold him down. And the reason why it happened is because he likes to eat hair. So there was one of
it was attached.
Bro, there was literally a hair,
a ball and
my
chain?
hair, like this long from his asshole that I had to pull out, and there's like poop. Oh, bro, it was so fucking.
Leave it there. Leave that there. Oh no,
bro, it was disgusting. It was awful. I was like, is this what having kids is like? Because I don't think I'm
probably worse. I feel like that's an every now and then occasion,
right?
But I feel
kids,
like
that's an everyday occasion.
How many times will it happen is the question.
Yeah, it was awful. It was a bad time. So shitty experiences this week.
A nasty experience.
Nasty. But yeah, I guess we can get into the movie unless you had something to say.
No, I'm all storied out. Not that I said anything, but take that out.
I'm all storied out.
Oh, shut up. Are we ready?
Yes, I'll go ahead and read the synopsis for you. So Candyman is an exploration of urban legends, gentrification, and the horrors placed on Black communities. In the newest iteration of Candyman, we pick up a few decades after the original, following our new couple, Tony and Brianna. After the couple moves into the new and improved Cabrini Green, they are told about the legend of Candyman. With this story haunting Tony, he decides to use this as his source of inspiration for his next work of art. As Tony learns more and more about the history of Cabrini Green and Candyman, he realizes that there may be some truth to the urban legends that hit a little too close to home. There you go.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So this is Candyman.
That was scary.
Okay. Take that out, bro. What is...
We struggling today, bro.
Puberty just...
Puberty.
Candyman. Candyman. Don't say this too many times.
I know.
Okay.
I think if we break it up, though, it doesn't count.
True. Okay. So obviously, y'all know the movie name. It is the sequel to the original Candyman that was in 1992. Thank you. Mm-hmm. This one came out in 2021, as you know. It's classified as a mystery horror thriller, as I'm sure you could see by the mystery horror and thrills.
Right.
I kill myself sometimes. Okay. Oh Lord. Okay. So getting into the reviews a little bit, Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it an 85%.
Okay, that's
which
pretty high.
Doesn't surprise me. The audience gave it a 73%.
Okay.
So, in the range, but not quite there. And IMDb gave it a 6.4 out of 10. Again,
See,
it's
like
always
literally always in the 6.
They're never happy. They're never satisfied.
It's always just average, I guess.
No, I guess. A little bit above average. It was directed by Nia DaCosta, who's an African-American woman, and she has directed a few other films as well. I think they're all kind of in the same genre, but
of horror?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Kind of like thriller. I don't know if they're all horror necessarily, but more
now
like
I'm
thriller.
Curious. What other movies has she made? Very cool.
She's also a writer as well, co-writer with Jordan Peele, as you may know from Get Out and Us, as well as Wynn Rosenfeld.
Very nice.
To get into the cast a little bit, we have Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. He played Anthony McCoy.
You struggled on that name.
McCoy. Literally just McCoy. I said everything else great.
I know.
I looked it up and everything. Okay. Anthony McCoy. Tiana Paris plays Brianna Cartwright. Nathan Stewart Jarrett plays Troy Cartwright, which is the brother. Coleman Domingo plays William Burke. Kyle Kaminsky plays Grady Greenberg. Vanessa Williams plays Anne-Marie McCoy, who's also in the first Candyman film. Brian King plays Clive Privler. Nope. Brian King plays Clive Privler. Miriam Moss plays Jerica Cooper. Rebecca Spence plays Finley Stevens. Tony Todd plays the Candyman at the end in The Reflection. He's also in the original. Michael Hargrove plays Sherman Fields. And Rodney L. Jones III plays Bill.
Almost.
I'm making your editing so much fun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, future editing, Kaylee. And Rodney L. Jones III plays Billy.
Nice.
Thank you.
So did you watch both Candymans for this?
Did not. I didn't want to pay, but I regret it now because after doing research into it, I was like, everybody liked the first one better. So now I need to go see it.
Yeah.
But before I get into my notes, you did see the first movie.
I did.
So please, and let me clarify. So it looks like there was one original film and then there were a few other sequels, but we're ignoring that here. Like in this universe, those don't count.
It's very similar to like Halloween, where it had Halloween and then like some of them, I think one after that one included Jamie Lee Curtis, and then after that she wasn't involved, and then the one that came out like a few years ago has her in it. So it seems like they're kind of doing a similar thing where they're just bypassing a whole bunch of movies that happen in between. Okay. But yeah, that's basically what happened.
Got it. That's what I thought. So what were your thoughts on the original Candyman?
I liked it. I've seen it twice in probably the past like year, I guess. And I rewatched it because Tristan has never seen it, and plus for this movie, I wanted to see. I didn't know what this movie was going to be like, the new one that came out. I didn't know if it was going to be like a remake or if it was going to be a sequel. I didn't know. So, but I really enjoyed it. It's an older 90s movie and it's a little long. And it has like this, would you call it a plot device or something in the story where like the killer doesn't want to kill the main character because he's in love with her. And it's like because she's a reincarnation of the first love that he had. I'm not really.
The white lady?
Yeah.
Was she a white lady in her other life?
Yeah. Yeah, because like the whole thing with Candyman is the same thing. He was the son of a slave, and then his dad, like after slavery ended, he like made shoes, and the Candyman was able to like become a painter. And then he fell in love with a white woman, got her pregnant, and then they cut off his arm and put honey on him and covered him in bees, and he
so that was the OG story. Yes. So that's the actual Candyman. So that's
the Candyman story. But he fell in love with a white woman, and Helen in the original, she looks just like her, and so he like is in love with her, and he's tormenting her, and he's like, be my victim, blah blah blah.
Victim?
Yeah, that's like his thing.
But don't you want to be my lover?
No, I mean he wanted her to die.
But I thought he said he didn't want to kill her, or is he in this like?
He did it because like he'll kill everybody but her until like the very end. He wanted them to die together. He was basically saying that he wanted to create their story together. They kidnapped a child together. Well, he kidnapped the child.
Oh, was that going to be his baby? Their baby?
Yeah, because like she was pregnant whenever he ended up getting killed. And so like he was trying to recreate that moment with Helen and the stolen baby. But also like it had that plot that is where the main character isn't believed, and so like all of these murders are happening and she is a prime suspect and she's like, I didn't kill anybody, and they're like, sure you did.
Kind of like the character Anthony
Exactly.
in this movie. Okay.
Exactly. So, and that's why the legend that's told in this Candyman about Helen is all misconstrued about how she chopped off that dog's head, she kidnapped that baby, blah blah blah. But what really happened is she did save the baby from the fire because Candyman had put him in the fire. She got him out of the fire and then she died.
Because he killed her or because of other side things happening?
Just because she was in that fire, in that big ass bonfire. She got
the baby
that.
was okay?
The baby was okay.
He was
obviously
just chilling in the furnace and was like, thanks for saving me.
Because it was like a big old bonfire that they were setting up for like the community. And like the baby was in there for like, it was kidnapped. It was missing for a few days. And then like it eventually landed up in there. And then before it was on fire. And then it caught on fire and Helen was inside and was able to get the baby and get it out.
But she didn't make it. Okay.
But she didn't. And so at the end, also what happens is her boyfriend or her husband is actually cheating on her in the movie. So she ends up like going to like the mental hospital and gets committed, and she's like asleep basically for a month, and then she breaks out and goes back home and she sees her husband with a new woman in her house, painting, redecorating. She was pissed. She was pissed.
You can't wait till I'm like gone.
I know.
It's not even been a month and she's
I know.
See, there are times when murder's okay. you knew better than this. That was a prime time. Do not have a woman in my house after I had a crate. No. Yeah. And honestly, I've already seen some stuff. It's over. It's over.
Exactly.
Sorry.
But at the end, when Helen does die, her husband is in the bathroom and he says her name 5 times and she pops up and kills him and kills the lover.
So there's a side kind of a Candyman now. So is she now another, not boogeyman, but another
version of Candyman, I guess.
Why do you say her name 5 times?
He was distraught, and I don't know if he thought that would work. I don't know what he was doing, but
now you might be distraught.
I know. He said, "Damn, I'm sorry, baby, Helen," and then
so he didn't mean to do it. He just
I'm like, how do you say it 5 times in a row uninterrupted?
She said,
looking in the mirror.
It's one thing the Candyman did right. Is give me these powers. So are they like in the realm together?
I guess Candyman
wasn't
kind
in
of got what he
this
wanted.
movie at all.
No, just told in the story.
Yeah, just kind of in the stories. But interesting. Thank you for that background information, Kaylee.
Of course. But I did really enjoy the first one. And if you get a chance, you should watch it. It was on Peacock for free. And then I tried to watch the second one, like something about flesh. And now Candyman is gone. So
of course it is. It's just so hard to find. They
just take that shit down
movies
quick.
Around. It's on Netflix. It's not on Netflix. Now it's on Peacock, which whatever that is now. Some other company's coming out with their own thing. And I just can't keep up. Like somebody's getting the chopping block. I'm not buying everything. I'm gonna start stealing.
I was really mad because Peacock has Dr. Death on there, and Tristan and I were watching it. We're on episode 4. We're about to fucking press play, and then it's like, oh no, you have to have premium to watch the rest of the season.
Okay.
I was like,
this is why people steal. This is why LimeWire is coming back in a streaming form, because I'm so tired of y'all trying to make us pay for everything. And it sucks now because when you pay for stuff, like before, sorry, we're kind of getting off topic, but before, when you paid for something, you paid for it, you have it permanently.
Yep.
But now everything is subscription based. So you're always forever paying for stuff that's not yours. Yep. Because the minute you stop paying is the minute you stop having access to it.
The one thing that really kills me, though, the worst streaming platform, I think, and Amazon's starting to do this too now, is Hulu. How the fuck do I pay for a service for, let's say, $6 and I'm paying for ads?
You're still watching ads.
I have to pay twice as much just so I don't have ads? Like, what the fuck?
I'm already paying money. I think ads should be the free version. And then, because there's not a free Hulu version, is there?
No.
So you just have to pay... You're paying to watch. What a joke.
And then I was watching something on Amazon and it was like free with ads. I was like, what the fuck? And I started playing it. The ads were like 125 seconds long. I said, bitch, exit out. I was so pissed.
It's not a good experience when it keeps being interrupted. By 120 minutes.
120 seconds.
Seconds.
120 minutes. That's the whole movie right there.
Gosh. We're never getting through this. You gotta watch a section a day and let it run. I'd be sick.
Bro, I was so pissed. But yeah.
And the ads are getting smart. I was like trying to look at a recipe and there's an ad. So I just like went to another window to, ignore it. Came back, paused. I was like,
so you gonna watch
you
me?
Hoe. How dare you? Anyway, sorry.
They said we spend way too much money on this placement. You gonna watch it.
So tired of advertising and marketing and like Sometimes I make a mental note. I'm like, that company's pissed me off so many times with the advertisements. I'm not using them.
Oh, but even with not Amazon, even with Instagram, you get like if you're going through stories, you get double ads now. Have you seen that?
Yep. And I'm like,
what the hell?
I don't want to. Click. And
I still don't know these people. What the fuck?
No, I don't want to see them. And then after you've hit the end of your history, I remember I kept scrolling. I was like, who are these people? And it starts showing you. It's like suggested. I'm like, if I don't follow them, I don't want them on my home feed.
Right. If I wanted to go to the explore page, I would go to the explore
exactly.
page.
If I want to explore, I'll be over there. That's where you show me suggested things. Do not show me anything other than chronological order on my Instagram. I'm tired of seeing posts from 2 days ago. I could have liked it 2 days ago, but instead you want to show it to me by who you think I interact with.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't wait for Instagram to, I don't know, because every time anything blows up, it just
gets worse.
It always gets worse. But anyways, let's get back on track here. So I guess I'll talk about a little bit of the behind the scenes a little bit, or just from like Jordan Peele from a YouTube channel called The Movie Times. They had an interview with him. It was about just like 4 minutes, but he was just talking about how...
Oh, she has a little notebook. Look at it.
Boop, boop, boop. I hate typing sometimes. Sometimes I just like to write. And my handwriting has progressively gotten worse because I don't really write anymore. It's just like kind of...
It's not that bad. I really can't read that part though.
No, my hand's weak. Like my hand got really strong in college. Yeah. It's weak now. Anyway, so he just mentioned how when he was younger, this is Jordan Peele. He would watch like horror films and he noticed that there was no like black Freddy Krueger or Jason or anything like that. So he liked the original Candyman. He said it was influential in his life because it was finally a character kind of like in the black community. He said there were black characters in horror films, but it was never a majority of black people in the film. So it was kind of a nice movie to kind of give, I wouldn't say another perspective, but just another cultural aspect to it.
Yeah, because I mean, with horror movies, black characters are religiously killed off first. Like that's the whole trope.
Oh my gosh!
So I think it was cool to have Candyman, and I watched this one thing. I think it's called Horror Noir. It was on Shudder, but basically it was kind of like black prominent actors, kind of talking about different horror icons from the past. And I think a lot of people had an issue with Candyman being in love with a white woman because.
I was going to say, I'm usually not like always on that kind of stuff, but
can we really say that our dads are black married to white women?
And we are angry to this day. I'm just kidding. No, I guess I just feel like when you can write any story.
Yeah.
And it has to involve that stuff again. Because like, I do get how it brings kind of the black culture into it because it ties in with the projects and how it's kind of a folklore within the projects. Like I feel like if you go to different areas, they kind of have their different stuff. But it is interesting that with that in the film, you still kind of have that of, oh, he's in love with a white woman. I get tying it back to like slavery because that's a part of black history, but I don't see any reason why. Would it have changed the story if the woman investigating was a black woman?
I mean, technically, she had a friend that was also working on this with her, but we didn't really see her. Huh?
Was she black? See, no. Because that's my thing. If you're going to make a character white or black or whatever, especially in this film, what was the purpose of her being white? If you could just switch her for a black woman and it's relatively the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then I feel like you can do that, or you should might as well just do black woman because I feel like it keeps it in the culture. Because then I'm like, well, maybe her being white was significant in another way, but it doesn't seem like there was really anything significant other than like, oh, it was a forbidden love.
I can see it as like also because with this one, it talked a lot more about gentrification because where Helen lived, it was like another project that was supposed to happen, but it wasn't. And then like her coming into like Cabrini Green and like interviewing, like she posed a threat to a lot of people. So, and I think especially back in the 90s where they kind of tried to show like the black struggle a little bit more on TV. I think that's a very important thing to do. But it did have like white savior kind of stuff because like she really went from the fire with the baby to save the baby, and it was like a white woman. I don't know. But I mean, I think it was cool to see, like, especially keeping in mind that this is a 90s movie, that they kind of show that there's issues with white people kind of invading on black people's spaces and all this kind of stuff. So it was cool with that. Yeah.
I in that part I can understand, but then I was like, because even when I was watching Candyman and they were going back, because I haven't seen the original, so they were telling the story and I was kind of like, that was random. Should it be white? Like she can just be. I'm sure there could be a forbidden love with another black woman who might have been either on another area that he couldn't get to or something like that. But anyway, but we won't get into that too much. But aside from the main character being a white woman, we move on. So yes, it was just kidding. So he was saying that basically it influenced his work clearly because he does a lot of, basically his films are centered around
race.
I would say definitely race and status and things like that. And even though Us to me wasn't explicitly wasn't explicitly about the characters being black in the movie itself, but I like how he uses black main characters. I think it's cool. It's kind of nice to see a different view, if you will. You know, it's not always like one look. So I like how it brings in another kind of culture and vibe. So I just like that a lot. But he was saying that, you know, speaking about things like this kind of Candyman and the projects. Now you can tell me how hard they hit on social issues maybe in the first one, because I'm sure they did touch on things like gentrification and just like things like that. But he was saying that he thought it was important to bring the connection of like what's going on in society and the epidemic of, he says, violence against black bodies, you know, kind of with police brutality and just the poverty and the projects and everything.
I mean, in the first one, if you want me to answer that question.
Yes.
It didn't really do a lot of like police brutality kind of messaging. It kind of talked about how, because they were talking about a murder that happened and she had called 911 several times saying that there's someone trying to break into her house, and they didn't take her seriously because she was black and lived in the projects. And so they took forever to get there. She ended up getting killed. She ended up getting killed. So like it talked about that, like I guess the injustices. Okay. But it wasn't like as heavy as with like the police brutality as this one was. But yeah, it did touch on gentrification and stuff like that. But yeah.
Interesting. And I know Nia also kind of spoke upon that as well. She gave another interview in the movie. It was another video from the Movie Times and the YouTube channel. I'll probably go back and forth between these two interviews. It's that one, and then there's a Fandango All Access interview from YouTube that she did as well. But she did say that as well. Wanted to bring in kind of the police brutality and just the things kind of like, they never said Black Lives Matter specifically, but I would say definitely kind of, you know, coming from the protests and things like that have shown recent light on things. I would say that probably had an influence kind of on them touching on police brutality specifically. Yeah. But they both mentioned that they like how Candyman is kind of like a story overall. Like it's
not just one person. Yeah.
Yes. It's like a lasting thing. It's kind of like almost a shared folklore between a group of people. Because if you go to different areas of all cultures, they always have their kind of thing, the, you know, old stories or the myths or, you know, the legends and stuff. Jordan said about Nia is that she explored kind of race on all levels, because they did have, like, I feel like a lot of the characters that were white were kind of a little negative. Maybe, I don't know if they did that on purpose or if they just happened to be that way. Kind of like the guy who's being so rude to him when he was at his art thing. Like, I just feel like he was being so rude. And then it was almost comical, because then you have this character who's just kind of like, you know, this like, I don't know, rich, pretentious guy who is sleeping with his intern. And then of course they think it's silly and they tie themselves together while they're having sex so he can't run away. Anyway. And then of course, like the critic, she was kind of basically a bitch to him until the killings started happening, and then she's like, now I'm interested. So it's like,
she basically called his ass out too. It was like, oh, y'all like to feed on these type of stories, and he said, y'all. She's like, artist.
Well, she did kind of a point, maybe a little bit. She was like, you artists just come in and think you're deep and just go into these areas and say what you think will be popular and then leave. And I was like, oh. I mean, she okay, wrong. I'm not in the art world, but that sounds like it's a possibility. But Jordan also said that she kept the tragic love story at the center. But now that you explained to me the love story of the first one, I don't know if I can really equate these two.
I don't think so.
I don't even know if it was really a love story. I didn't get that. I felt more of, she was now able to help him in his new Candyman quest, which was like, we're reversing kind of how Candyman works now. But I didn't really get that this was a love story. I knew they were in love and they struggled, but I didn't get like, they will always be in love. Like, he wasn't even like, I'll love you forever. He was like, go tell everyone. She's like, all right. So I didn't really get that part, but Jordan Peele specifically said that there is a tragic love story in this one as well as the first one, but I don't think so.
Okay. I think it's very much more prominent in the first one. We did it at the same time. Wow. Twins.
We're thinking.
But I don't know. But also, like, I have an issue with that love story too, because I mean, it's supposed to be like a murder slasher kind of thing, which we don't typically like. But if you're gonna murder people. Like, she was the one who said his name 5 times, and she didn't die until the very end.
No, who?
Helen.
What do you mean?
In the first movie.
Oh, the first movie. You said she didn't die to the end?
Yeah, she didn't die until the end, and she said his name in the beginning. She said his name 5 times.
Because he loved her, Kaylee.
I know, but still, she should have died.
But he loved her.
Die.
They were in love.
Die.
Okay. I'd be so mad if I was reincarnation of somebody and I got baggage from. I'm like, who are you even? I don't even know that woman. We don't know her.
I don't even think we look alike. Really? Sorry,
No.
You got the wrong one.
Got the wrong white woman. There's a couple more of me. They look just like me. They that way. Anyway, but another thing that Nia talked about, she talked about the imagery with the shadow puppets.
Oh, yeah, that was new.
And talking about how they really brought it to life and wanted it to kind of look creepy. And, I thought it was really creepy.
I didn't get creepy vibes. I got kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of goofy. Too hard? Yeah.
I knew you would.
It was a little goofy. I was like, what is these little stick figures doing?
Because she was saying that the reason why they did this is because they're trying to bring in the storytelling. Because, back in the day when they didn't have TVs, they had sheets and light. So they would kind of do that. But she said usually they would take the hands out of the image, like in post and stuff. So then it would just be the puppets. But she said she wanted to keep them in because it showed
the act of storytelling.
The act of the storytelling. So that's why they had a lot of the kind of puppet imagery, the shadow.
It was a deep reason.
I like deep. It. Exactly. Change your mind. But
I mean, I don't like it. I like the concept.
I thought I liked it. But we'll move along. Okay. So now that we've talked about a little bit of what the directors were saying and things like that, what did you want to start on?
I guess we could talk about our overall feelings.
Let's do that.
We actually saw this movie together.
Forever. Yes. Which I don't know why we don't watch movies in the theater
really
together
live
more
like
often.
right down the street.
We're both like equal distance from this movie down the street, but continue.
But I mean, it was a good time, except that there was a child in there crying. So
someone brought their infant to a R-rated horror thriller mystery movie, and they kept crying throughout the movie, and they would
babies do.
As they do. I'm not mad at the child, but they would take the child out, bring him back, and it was just kept crying. And oh my god, please don't bring your children. And I don't even want to say infant's like a baby, like a toddler that could walk around and scream. Don't do that. Maybe I don't have kids, and they're probably like, well, you don't have a kid, it's hard to have date night. I do get it, but also for your child's sake, why are you in a horror film?
I brought that up to my dad, and he was like, well, to be fair, when you were like maybe 2, we brought you to see Saving Private Ryan.
No. Oh my gosh.
I was like, that's like the longest movie you
could
have ever
like sad, violent movies. Because that was pretty sad and intense.
Yeah.
I get taking them to maybe like PG, maybe a Marvel.
Right.
If you're going to. But I was like, this is a horror film. I'm sure this baby is like crying because there's lots of screaming and blood and it was scary.
A lot,
for a child, goodness.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't have a kid yet. So, kids always tell you, well, you don't know. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm glad that I don't know. But my parents said they took me places when I was a baby. They're like, we took you until you didn't sleep anymore. Because they're like, yeah, you were a newborn. You slept through the whole thing. And I was like, okay. So I guess everybody does it.
Yeah, I guess so. Back to overall thoughts.
Yeah, back to overall thoughts. You go first.
I really enjoyed this movie. Except for the ending. I think the ending, like as soon as Brianna gets kidnapped, that's when it went downhill for me. I really liked how it set up. I really liked how it intertwined the first movie. Like I said, I didn't know how they were going to do that. And it was cool to see them move on, but also use the story of Helen and Cabrini Green and all that kind of stuff, especially in the beginning where they misconstrued it, just like how any urban legend starts. So it was really cool and very creative. I really liked that part of it. I don't know why that man's an artist. He sucked.
Well, they did show him sucking, so it's not like,
bro, whatever. He was like, baby, what you think about this? She said,
oh,
it's very literal.
It was. I was like,
then he had the audacity to show that at the gallery, and everybody was like, where'd you find that shit at the thrift store? I was like, dude.
Oh, see, I can't be an artist.
Hell no.
Aside from the fact that I'm talentless, I just feel like they're gonna tear me up,
bro.
But no, except for when he went mad, then his artist,
then it started getting better.
That's how it always goes. You have to go crazy to be an artist.
That's how it goes.
And then once you die, your art's worth. So now, honestly, his girlfriend set up all those paintings.
As long as she didn't get like arrested at the end. But yeah, all those paintings.
True. She gonna sell them for millions because now he's dead.
Now he's dead.
There's a legend. There was a whole scandal behind it.
It works out for her.
Works out.
But yeah, those paintings were trash. I agree with that one guy that said that. And then like the body horror aspect of this movie. For whatever reason, even if it doesn't look like realistic, body horror always gets under my skin, especially if it has something to do with eyes or if it's like peeling something or the nails. And I had 2 out of those 3 things that happened where he was like picking at his bee sting kind of thing.
Oh, and we're all acting like the infection climbing up his entire like left side of his body was
like that was normal.
Yeah, I was like, I understand him not doing anything because I know he's starting to go a little crazy, but I feel like no one said anything except for the lady at the table when they were eating dinner.
She said, ew, be careful.
She said, watch out. My food.
Get that away.
That was the only time I'm like, I would not bring my man to anywhere if his arm. And the doctor was like, all right, let's get you set up. I'm like, set up. This man's dying. Sorry.
His skin is decaying.
And he starts peeling it. I'm like,
but it was gross. But I mean, I like those aspects of it. And then the ending really lost me with just like really being not over dramatic. What is it called? Like they are really like pushing this message of police brutality and like this kind of thing. And of course, like it happens, but like in my movies, if it's too heavy-handed, then it gets a little lost on me because I already agree with the messaging. You don't have to win me over, trust. But like whenever it's just too much in the movie, I'm like, okay, you lost me. I don't know. It's just my feelings about that. But
no, my only issue was sometimes like that is it just felt like out of nowhere. Like I knew there were undertones of the what's it called? Like the projects and things like that. And they did touch on how like the police show up late, or if they show up, now they patrol. But I feel like we didn't. I think I would have liked it had police brutality kind of started out in the beginning a little bit more. Like it doesn't have to be like in your face, but just kind of have it. Cause I feel like we went left, like we're going one way where there's a lot of twists happening. Like all of a sudden he's turning into Candyman, but he's not turning into Candyman. Somebody's turning him into Candyman. If that makes sense. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so there's a twist there. And then of course she has to run because the guy wants her to be there for some reason. We don't know why on earth she needed to be a witness. I don't know. Anyway, and then, of course, then the police show up and then they just shoot him. And then it just seemed like very random. Like I was just like, because, and not that I'm saying that police officers don't make not good decisions, right? But I'm like, so they just came in here and then just shot whoever they saw first. And then they get in the car and the man turns around and is like, you're going to tell our side of the story. Yeah. I was like, wait, because I'm like, I get the point. I agree with the point, but it just seemed like a lot of that just happened at the end. Yeah, because like I liked if they would have built up to it a little bit more. Yeah, because I felt like since they didn't really do a lot focus specifically on police brutality like too much throughout the movie, that they had to throw it all in at the end, and it was all a little bit much. Like I see what you're saying. Yeah. So.
I mean, I will say at the beginning, you see those cops rushing the Candyman in the very beginning.
That's true.
And that was about it. And then we don't really see police after that.
Until the end. So I'm like, no, totally get it. But I guess I was just a little confused. Because at first I was like, oh, the police are in on the Candyman. Because I was like, well, they must know stuff. And then they didn't. I was like, oh, okay. Like I was just a little confused.
And then they just ended up being just bad people. So,
of course.
And I don't know. That's what really killed it for me. But what are your overall thoughts?
Overall, I liked it. I thought it was beautifully shot. I liked all the shots. Acting was really good. I liked Yaga a lot, being the main character and everything. I thought the story was interesting, and I was curious to see where it was going. Yeah. Because I wasn't sure where it was going, which I like. I was like, okay. I didn't realize he was turning into Candyman until like it started going, and I was like, okay, where are we going to go with this? Because there's already technically a Candyman. And we'll get into that because I'm not really sure where you turn into Candyman. But anyway. But no, I do agree kind of at the end. It ended abruptly. And it left on such a weird note. I was like, wait, what?
It was like they rushed the ending.
It was really rushed. I feel like I needed to hear, because I'm like, I totally get it. The laundromat guy who wanted to turn Anthony into Candyman, right? William Burke was the character who wanted to turn Anthony into Candyman. So as soon as we got there, I feel like I needed way more. Yeah. How do you just turn this man, because I guess he was sacrificed, because I didn't watch the first one, but now that I know what you're saying, I know a little bit more. But he was going to be sacrificed, but they didn't make it seem like he was going to be the love baby child. They just kind of made it seem like you're the chosen one. I'm like, chosen one for what? Why do you need a successor when you're already the Candyman? You're not going to die. Unless, I guess, the other Candyman is set in his legend ways. So you got to create another one so that he attacks the white folks or the... Yeah, I just didn't really know exactly what his purpose was. And I feel like they kind of cut it short. Like, I got the gist of it. Because now he's not going to attack their own people of the projects and things like that. But I was like, wait, where are we going? And then how did he turn him into that? And just because he was the chosen one, but why do you need another Candyman? So now there's 2 Candymen. So does this mean that there's no Candyman in the hood now? There's only Candyman that's not... Like, I just had so many questions.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? But I mean, and then he didn't kill his girlfriend. So then I'm like, even though she said his name 5 times, because he kind of...
Well, she said it 4. The police officer finished. Yeah, he said it the 5th time.
I don't know. That's how it worked.
That's not how
it worked for the white girls in the bathroom. That Asian girl left with the
girl.
quickness.
She was gone as soon as that whatever happened. I think like the door or something like banged, and she said, "Oop, never mind."
No,
she got her senses back. She said, "Oop."
She said, "I shouldn't be here." My parents warned me about the kids at this school. But no, literally. So I guess the ending, it just was a little abrupt. I feel like there was a lot of things that we were missing. Like I was just like, I don't really know what happened. I just knew that the laundromat guy was in on it the whole time. He was constructing it.
Yeah.
And now he's the new Candyman to bring justice.
And I'm just kind of confused.
But where's the other Candyman?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused with that because like I didn't even realize it until I was watching like a video. But like everybody who died in that movie besides like Tony and Burke were white. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. So it's just like in the original one, like black people were targeted by Candyman. Everybody thought that Candyman was killing people. And so now it's just like all white people, which I guess they're just trying to flip the script a little bit, which I can understand. But I just really don't understand how this curse works then, because if she's going to say it 4 times and the guy says it the last time, then all the cops die and she doesn't die, but she was there, so why didn't you kill her? Just because you loved her?
Well, I guess he has a conscience now. Like, is this a new kind of Candyman that comes like us, like Batman? You do you send the signal and he comes and he kills everybody for you,
right? I guess.
I don't know.
And then how do you explain that?
And then why did he need a hook? I feel like Burke went a little crazy because he wanted to make him into Candyman, but I'm like, we gotta screw in, like, he can't just be another spirit. Like, we can't just... He clearly is not the same as the original Candyman.
Yeah.
Because his MO is way different.
Right.
But he makes him chop his hand off. He's like, no, we're going to create you.
I guess that's
as the same thing. I'm like, could he just have
to do it? Yeah.
He didn't have to have his arm cut off. I feel like he did just give him a knife. Hook. I don't know.
Just hold the hook.
Just hold the hook. Or just like a little pirate cat. You don't have to do all that. But yeah, I just was a little taken aback, but I still enjoyed the film overall. I don't think it was a bad film. I thought it was pretty good, but I think a few things could have been fleshed out a little better in my opinion, just story wise, because I felt like it was like kind of long leading up to the climax, and the climax was like maybe 10 minutes, and I was like, oh, I feel like we drug that out for not a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Because there was a lot of, I think they really set it up really nicely. I liked the beginning. I liked how it was going. But yeah, the ending just was weird, especially because of Burke. Like, he seemed so normal the entire time except for the end. That's when he started like talking weird and like being a little different.
That's how it always works, Kayla. That's how they get you.
What happened?
Wait, we didn't see any of this.
I know. I was so confused. And then like, I really don't understand how you're going to be able to use Candyman as basically like, I guess, your hero to just kill the white people, because like it only works if somebody says their name 5 times. And I don't know.
Because he was like, tell everyone about me. And I'm like,
yeah.
So you're just going to tell everyone to say his name 5 times? Yeah, that's a good point. I'm like, how is he being conjured up?
Well, that is also another thing. Like in the original one, like he wanted his story to be told, because that's how urban legends continue to live, is by like, you don't have to say his name 5 times, but as long as his name is being said,
somebody gonna try it out. And you know, white folks, they love testing out stuff for no reason. You know, they're onto something. All I gotta say is, man killed by the Candyman. Sources say if you say his name 5 times, say less.
Yeah. Like they really didn't have to, like in the beginning on the news, they did not have to talk about, oh yeah, they died right in front of this guy's art piece called Say My Name, where he talks about the Candyman, blah, 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 blah. Like they didn't really have to do that. But I mean, that guy Tony was really happy about it. He said, they said my piece.
He said to Tony,
say my name.
She was like, he was like, didn't care about that man anyway.
Oh, I mean, he did die. That was sad.
Oh, and of course, like I said, you always gonna have a sex scene and murder. Can we get one movie where somebody's not having sex? It's always like some promiscuous woman and some asshole man. It's the same formula.
To be fair, in the first one, in the original one, it did have like a similar thing where there was this couple in the mirror and she was like in her bra and he was like filling up on her titties and she was like saying Candyman's name.
Why? But why? That's not a moment that you want to do that.
I don't know why that was making her freaky. Like, she was really into it.
Of course, she's like into BDSM, but this is not that. That was not that.
She did have like a little cross on too on her necklace.
Of course, religion and sex always has to be in every horror film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, here we go again. And then she has a weird buckle that she hooks to him. So of course, when she gets killed, he's like,
yeah.
it's a dead body on me. But how are they going to even have sex anyway? Okay.
Yeah,
you gotta,
that was.
You can't be that close. I don't know.
Yeah.
Our world is
understand
weird,
the mechanics of that one.
They're art people. They
Yeah.
just do things a little different, I suppose. But
Yeah.
it was still kind of funny.
They were goofy. Everybody in this movie was very goofy.
Yes.
But I mean, like, it was also nice because, like, even when, like, Tony, like we were just talking about, where he saw his art piece mentioned on the news story where those people just got brutally killed, he's like, oh shit, they mentioned me.
Yeah,
and everybody was like, what the fuck? Like,
it
was funny. He's like, oh, right.
Yeah, they did have some moments. Or when his girlfriend was walking around looking for him in the laundromat, she opened the door to the basement. She's like, nope.
Yep.
Like, just little things like that. I was
Yeah.
like, I do like that. But one thing I didn't get is her backstory. Brianna's backstory didn't come to a head, didn't come to a conclusion, in my opinion. We didn't circle back. I always hate when they bring stuff out about characters and we don't really talk about it again.
Yeah.
You hear that she watched her dad
Unalive himself.
Yeah, I was like, I know you can't say it. But I thought they were going to tie it back a little bit more.
Yeah.
And they touched on a little bit with her brother.
Yeah, when he was like, why do you always have to be with these wounded artists? You can't save all these wounded artists. That's what he was basically saying.
Yeah, and I was like, not mad at the backstory, but I
Yeah.
guess I just didn't see it tie into. Had that not been a part of it, the story would have changed. Not at all.
Exactly. It was so weird. Like, it was such a random scene that happened. I was like, what the hell was this for? And like, yeah, it was just mentioned that one other time, and that was about
That was it. I thought it was going to come full circle at the end. Like,
Yeah.
this was going to somehow connect to her past, but I guess they were just saying why she was with him, but you didn't really need that.
It was pointless, and it was kind of it's kind of fucked up of the dad to be sitting at the window and be like, you know, your daddy could fly.
I said, absolutely not, sir. Absolutely not.
Oh,
like,
so you didn't care about her at all?
No, he said, well, since you're here. I'm like, oh, right on time. What?
I was waiting for you. Finally.
Goodness. I'm like, that was a lot.
I couldn't believe he did that. I feel like that's not really how a parent would respond in that situation.
But I guess if you're also in that mental state, maybe you don't know. But I was like, that's why I thought it was going to come full circle. I was like, something's going to connect here with her traumatic past. And
yeah,
I didn't see anything connect at all, except for now she's just going through more trauma.
Poor girl.
Unless they're just tying into more of like the trauma of the Black family. I don't know. Unless there's something there, which they could have been doing.
Yeah.
But
it's just, I feel like they were trying to explore a lot of different things, but they never really got there, which is kind of weird because like there's parts of this movie that kind of drug just a little bit. So it's like we could have used our time a little bit more wisely to explore these different themes that y'all wanted to, instead of just heavy-handed putting shit in there like, oh, let's put in childhood trauma, oh, let's put in police brutality, like
nothing ever really intertwined or connected.
No, then like, okay, and then the whole thing is just Candyman. Like, okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I mean, they also depicted Candyman a little bit differently too, where he was, especially in the beginning, he was moving through reflections or shadows, like he wasn't really being saw, like especially when he killed like the news lady, or not the news lady, the critic and the people in the gallery, which is not how they did it in the original. Like he was there murking folks.
Like he was actually out there. Like you could see him. He wasn't just, I liked him being in the reflections.
I thought it was kind of cool. And like I heard this one guy talk about it. I'll put the video in the description, but he was basically talking about how maybe it was because they hadn't had their power, like their full power, because the Candyman legend had kind of died off, and so they were kind of regaining their strength, because at the very end, that's when you see like the fully realized Candyman through Anthony, and then like, you know, he cycled through.
That's a good point. Like to keep it I guess he's the next one in line, because they do talk about how there's different Candymen. Did they talk about that in the first film? How there was okay.
Well, I lied. Yes, they did. And like she got attacked by this guy who called himself the Candyman, but it didn't fall into line like this one did.
Okay.
It wasn't like, oh, these all were like traumatic deaths by these black men. It was more like this guy just kind of took up the name to kill people.
Okay, so he wasn't really a part of the legend. Okay, because in the film they act like there's other legends, other like versions of the Candyman, but where were they at? Like, I guess I just got confused because I'm like, I get if, like you said, you want to keep the legend going. So you always have to kind of create new Candyman versions. Men. So now this version will live into the 21st century, you know, and it keeps going. But I'm like, but where are the other versions? Shouldn't the version last before him be passing on the torch? Because if the OG keeps passing it on, I'm like, well, you're just passing it along just to all these other... Where's the lineage? I don't know. I just didn't get that lineage part. I'm like, so now that there's...
Because we saw Sherman like the whole time whenever he was looking at the Candyman. So like it did show the guy who was Candyman before him, before Anthony. It did show him the majority of the time. Yeah.
But then he was there at the end. The real Candyman or the OG.
Because it was also cycling through the old Candyman. Like it went back in time with all the Candyman. Like their face was changing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it was the lineage, I guess you could say.
Okay, that makes sense. So now... Anthony will pass it on to the next person.
But speaking of these past, you know, Candyman and this reflection, boy, we are in 2021. Why does our CGI still look like ass?
I agree. I was like, is this a video game?
Boy, exactly. Have you ever seen The Scorpion King? Like the Mummy Scorpion King?
That like 2000 something movie.
It has like Dwayne The Rock Johnson as a Scorpion King, and it looks like a PS2 graphic.
Oh, where they like put him into a video game and then put that in the movie?
Yes. That's how it looked like to me. It reminded me of Scorpion King. I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah.
Were they trying to make him look, because I guess the actor is technically older now, so they're trying to make him look exactly like he did like in the past, and
I guess so, yeah.
Didn't do well.
But I mean, like, I feel like, yes, he does look older now, but like, I don't think it was that big of a deal where they had to CGI his face
like that much.
Exactly.
A little makeup, little just FX.
I know you have bees all over his face. Like, it's fine. But
That's
yeah,
true.
those graphics really took me out, especially the last one with Tony Todd on there. I was like, wow, y'all just wanted to boo-boo on the end of this, didn't you?
Where were we? They did that in the movie we reviewed. What did I say they did at the beginning? Don't Breathe. The CGI girl that fell on the ground. I'm like, why are we using CGI for stuff that doesn't really need CGI?
Exactly. Well, we could easily just do.
No, you could just do face morphing, like their actual faces. You don't have to CGI anything, or just CGI a little bit. It looked like they did the whole face, like they did the whole thing CGI.
Bad. I miss the days of practical effects. Like we watched this movie called like The Thing a couple years ago, and that one had like a lot of practical effects, and it was like about body morphing.
The Thing.
Yes,
that was good.
It still stands the test of time. Like it looks good. And this
one, scary. It was kind of creepy.
I know. And this one, like I feel like in a few years, like maybe 3 years from now, people are gonna be like, "What was that?" Even now today, I was like, "What was that?"
Right now. But I see what you mean. It's a lot of CGI, but I think we're getting away from like true. Is it FX? Like the actual, like when artists come like and do physical art and kind of that. I do understand, like, clearly movies have done great. Like I know when Avatar came out. Yes. I look back on it now and I'm like, oh. But still, it was good for the time. I feel like we should be progressing as a I was gonna say country. As a unit. But
it looked bad, and it was just another thing for me to not like about the ending, because I was so close to giving it a higher score, but then like I was like, the ending, like as soon as she got kidnapped and then Burke just went crazy, like I couldn't get into it. I was like, okay, y'all lost me. I was okay with that man's whole like half of his body decaying, and then y'all lost me. Sorry.
Wow. So on that note, what do you give it?
I give it a 3.5. I was originally going to give it a 4. I gave the original one a 4. I really liked it. And
out of 5, of course.
Yeah, out of 5. So I was so close to giving this one a 4. I went back and forth all night, and then like as soon as me and Tristan were like talking more about it, I was like, I just can't stand the ending. But yeah, if the ending was like, I don't even know what direction they could have gone into that would have made me happier. It just felt like this whole ending wasn't explored very well, because I just don't really understand how you're going to be able to use, basically you're using Candyman as like an attack force. Like, how are you going to like subject like certain types of people to just that Candyman? Like, he attacks everybody who says his name. So I'm just kind of confused with that part. But yeah, I don't get it, and it killed me. So 3.5.
I always hate doing similar scores.
We just think too much alike.
We do. I'm like, we need to argue. I think I'm just going to give it a 3.
Okay.
I was thinking, because I feel like parts of the movies are 4.
Yeah.
That's why I see why you said 3.5. I don't want to give it a 5, because 5 is like fantastic. Yeah. 4 is a really good, solid movie. Good movie. 3 is, it's almost there. So I'm like, it was in between a solid movie, but the ending did kind of kill it for me, just because I feel like it's like they try to stuff all the movie in one little box. And I was like, I don't know where we're going here. But I do like a lot of things, like visually, the acting. I thought the storyline premise, like I did like how they were kind of taking the art and kind of putting it together.
It was kind of cool that his art progressed to be better.
Yes, and worse at the same time because he mentally was getting worse. But yeah, I think that his progression of getting to the Candyman state was pretty decent. Sometimes I think they go too crazy too fast or they're going too slow, but I thought it was a good progression. Like I could start to see, you could see that Candyman was kind of messing with him along with the experiences he was going through in his life. So I did like that. And but I would say, yeah, the ending, I guess I was just expecting something a little bit different. I don't know. I feel like they could have gone with the same story plot line of, you know, the police brutality and stuff, but I just don't think the way that they did it was fleshed out enough for me.
No.
And I think the ending, it was all maybe like a 10-minute scene. And I was like, oh.
I know, it happened so fast. And it just like was like, oh, this is where we're going.
I just don't think I got the full purpose of what Candyman's goal is now, because traditionally whoever says the name 5 times bop, bop. But then of course now I'm like, well, now it seems like this is a reform Candyman who's only going after injustice maybe. But like you said, how would you do that if somebody has to say the name in order for it to happen?
Right. Or just, I guess, confuse them into saying it the last time, like his girlfriend did, Brianna.
Yeah, like do you have to run around and try to manipulate people? Like, is he really doing it? Like Candyman, or is it us that we now got to put in all the work?
He said, finally, I get to relax.
All you got to do is pass out a paper. White people say, I dare you. And they go, oh.
That's it.
To say this 5 times. And they go, oh. In the mirror. And they go, great. Thought it was decent. I was entertained. And I mean that in a good way.
Oh, yeah, me too. Like, yeah, because you said you're entertained with Don't Breathe too, and I don't think it was in a good way.
It was in... I had a few drinks before I got there. But you know what? Sometimes I will give a movie a better score just because it entertained me. Because I'm like, you know what? I was entertained. Some movies are not necessarily like Oscar worthy. Yeah. But I watch a lot of movies nowadays, so I stopped paying attention real quick. Like Tenet. I don't know if you ever saw Tenet. No. Anyway, did not care. I feel like not talking about that though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll shout out a movie. But I did go to the movies and see Night House, and I really liked it. That one I did give a 4.5.
What's Night House? You need to do like a separate review on that. We need to do a movie we like.
I know, because I don't like a lot of movies, but this one I really did, and it's like a slow burn and a little bit weird, but I really enjoyed it. It really paid off for me at the end.
I'll have to watch that one.
So it's in the theaters if y'all want to check it out.
So I'm trying to think of anything that I watched recently, but
He's All That trash. Don't watch it.
I had no intentions of watching that.
Bro, there's literally a scene in that movie where they throw horse poop at each other. So
for fun?
Yeah, and they laugh. They have a good time. They said like one of those like really aggressive fake laughs. Like it was like big mouth, really loud. Not even that funny.
We're fighting.
Dude,
we're fighting.
That movie was awful.
You're not throwing any type of boo-boo on me. Thank you.
She said, what? It's mostly grass, right?
Wait. Were they white?
Of course.
Stop.
Oh, but yeah.
And I know not all white folks do that. They're tired too. Y'all be doing it. You feel like they really do this stuff. I'm like, I don't know about y'all white side. I was like, we don't do that.
No.
Somebody does, clearly. Somebody wrote that. So
as like a part of their love story. Like this was before they
it was the couple that was like, oh, they were like on a cute little date throwing a criminal.
The police need to be called.
Criminal. They need to be arrested and taken apart, and they need to be separated immediately.
Bro, yeah. Gosh. It was wild. But if you like things that are not covered in horse shit, then you'll like our Instagram.
It's just covered in Remy.
And Remy shit. You'll get cat feces instead.
Oh,
but you'll like our Instagram at Haley and Kaylee. We also have a TikTok at Haley and Kaylee. And we also have a website at Press Podcast where you can check out our blogs and our podcast. What else do we have?
We also have a YouTube channel at Haley and Kaylee. Once again, you can watch this video if you're listening on our Spotify. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, we also have the podcast on Spotify and iTunes as well. So you can switch back and forth if you want. We also have a few other videos on there. You can catch little things here and there. We're funny.
I think so.
My mom said we're funny. Anyway, and if you also want us to review any other movies, or you have comments, questions, concerns, or if you just disagree with us or agree, you can tell us why you think this was the best movie ever or whatever. And that's at presspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. And I guess on the YouTube channel, you can like and subscribe if y'all really want to.
Please.
Leave a comment below, too.
What do they do to this?
Hit that little bell icon.
We're so
too.
white. What is this? I'm not this pale in person.
Put your arms out.
Yes.
No, that's a hate
It is
crime.
raw chicken. It's a little tanner on the side. I'm sorry. I'm so disgusted by myself. Continue. Ugh.
We don't know what we're going to be watching next time, but, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And we'll figure it out together.